You are tired. It is a fatigue that has little to do with the hours you have slept or the labor you have performed. It is a soul-level exhaustion, a weariness born from a lifetime of pushing, of striving, of chasing a horizon that seems to recede with every step you take. You were taught a story, a very specific and compelling story, about how the world works. It was whispered to you in the cradle, reinforced in the classroom, and chanted in the hallowed halls of commerce. The story goes like this: you must earn your place. You must prove your worth. You must trade your precious life force, your time, your energy, your genius, for tokens of survival. They called this exchange work, they called the tokens money, and they called the endless, breathless pursuit of it ambition. You learned the rules of this game very well. You learned to sacrifice sleep for deadlines, to silence your intuition in favor of logic, to package your soul into a marketable skill set. You learned that effort is noble and ease is suspect. You learned that your value is a number on a statement, a figure that rises and falls with the whims of a system you had no hand in creating. And so you have been running on a treadmill that was built to exhaust you, designed to keep you so focused on the next step that you never have the space to look up and question the nature of the machine itself. But something is happening now. A crack is appearing in the flawless facade of that reality. A question, like a persistent hum beneath the noise of your daily life, has begun to surface. What if it is all a lie? What if the exhaustion, the struggle, the constant grinding pressure is not a prerequisite for abundance, but the very thing that is holding it at bay? What if the system of earning a living was the most elaborate and effective spell ever cast upon humanity? This is not a casual inquiry. This is a splinter in your mind. It is the reason you are here, listening to these words. It is a signal, a resonance from a part of you that remembers a different way. A way of being that is as natural as breathing, as effortless as the turning of the tides. This is an invitation to stop pushing the river and to finally learn how to float. It is an invitation to remember the true currency of the universe. And that currency is not effort. It is not time. It is not labor. The true currency is frequency. This is the secret they have hoped you would never discover. The architects of your exhaustion built a world based on a profound misunderstanding, or perhaps a deliberate obscuring of universal law. They created a game of external validation, of chasing and acquiring, because a population that is perpetually chasing is a population that is perpetually distracted. A distracted soul never looks within, and within is the source of everything. They taught you that money is a thing, a solid, quantifiable object that exists outside of you. They gave it names: dollars, euros, yen, and printed it on paper and minted it into coins to reinforce its illusion of separateness. They built towering institutions to manage it, to lend it, to count it, to convince you of its power and your lack thereof. But money is not a thing. It has never been a thing. Money is a current, an energetic flow. It is a symbol for the exchange of value, and nothing more. It is like the water in a river, and you have been taught to stand on the bank with a thimble, desperately trying to scoop up enough to survive, terrified of the river running dry. You have been convinced you are separate from the river. You are the river. The system you have been operating within is a construct, a collective agreement. It has power only because you have been conditioned to believe it has power. Your belief gives it breath. Your fear gives it fangs. The programming runs deep. It began with your parents, with the tension in their voices as they spoke of bills. It was coded into you through their anxieties, their sacrifices, their belief that life is hard and resources are scarce. They were not malicious. They were simply passing down the spell they were under. The programming was reinforced at school. You were rewarded for sitting still, for following rules, for regurgitating information. Your innate creative genius, your connection to the infinite, was deemed a distraction. You were being prepared not for a life of joyful expansion, but for a role within the machine. Follow the path, they said. Get the grades. Get the job. Climb the ladder. Each step was designed to move you further away from your own center of power, to make you more dependent on the external structure for your sense of security and worth. The glorification of the grind is the masterstroke of this programming. They made a virtue of exhaustion. They created a culture where I am so busy is a statement of importance. And I am resting is a confession of guilt. Why? Because a rested, centered, joyful human being is a sovereign being. A sovereign being cannot be controlled. A sovereign being remembers that they are the source of their own supply. They do not need to chase, to beg, to borrow from a system that was designed to indebt them from birth. The power was never out there. It was never in the job, the bank account, the approval of others. The power has always been in your state of being. This is the moment you reclaim it. Not by fighting the old system, but by rendering it obsolete. You do not tear down the prison walls. You simply remember that you were never a prisoner to begin with. You were the architect, and you can draw a new blueprint. Let us speak of the true laws, the spiritual physics that govern the flow of all things in this universe. These laws are as real and as immutable as gravity. They operate whether you are aware of them or not. The only difference is that awareness allows you to consciously co-create with them. The first and most fundamental law is this: your outer world is a perfect and unflinching mirror of your inner world. As within, so without. This is not a poetic sentiment. It is a diagnostic tool. The numbers in your bank account are not a measure of your worth. They are a reflection of your energetic frequency. The opportunities that appear or fail to appear are not a matter of luck. They are a response to the signal you are broadcasting. You are a transmission tower, sending out a frequency every moment of every day. And the universe, in its infinite and impersonal intelligence, simply matches that frequency. It does not judge it. It does not analyze it. It mirrors it. If your dominant frequency is one of struggle, lack, and anxiety, I have to work hard. There is never enough. I am worried about the future. Then the universe can only deliver to you circumstances that match that vibration. It will give you more reasons to struggle, more evidence of lack, more things to worry about. It is not punishing you. It is responding to you. This brings us to the second law. The universe responds to the frequency of your emotion, not the content of your thoughts. You can stand in front of a mirror and repeat, "I am wealthy," 1,000 times. But if the feeling in your body is one of desperation and disbelief, what frequency are you truly broadcasting? You are broadcasting desperation. The universe does not hear your words. It feels your vibration. This is why hustle culture is a spiritual dead end. The frantic energy of chasing, of striving from a place of fear that you will be left behind, is a frequency of lack. It is a powerful declaration to the universe that you believe abundance is outside of you and you must run to catch it. And so, you will always have to run. The opposite of this is alignment. Alignment is the state of being where your thoughts, your emotions, and your actions are all in harmony with the truth of who you are. An infinite, abundant, and worthy being. From a state of alignment, action is not a struggle. It is an overflow. It is inspired. It is effortless. Feels like play. You are not pushing the river. You are the river in flow. This leads to the third law, the law of circulation. Abundance, like water, must flow. It is not meant to be hoarded. Hoarding is an act of fear. It is a statement of belief in scarcity. When you clutch your resources tightly, you are sending a powerful signal that you believe there is not enough and no more is coming. You are, in effect, building a dam in the river. The energy stagnates. The flow stops. The paradox of prosperity is that it is amplified through release. Not reckless spending, but a conscious, joyful circulation of energy. Giving freely, spending with joy, investing with trust. These actions are declarations of faith in an abundant universe. They tell the river, "I am an open channel. Flow through me," and the river always responds to an open channel. So, if these laws are so simple, why is it so hard? Why do you find yourself trapped in cycles of debt, or feast and famine, or just enough to get by? Because the battlefield is not in the world. It is not in your strategy or your business plan. The battlefield is inside your own body. Your mind might be starting to grasp these concepts. You might feel a flicker of excitement, a resonance of truth in these words. But your body holds the old story. Your nervous system has been wired for a different reality. Think back. Think of the environment you grew up in. Was abundance spoken of with ease and joy, or was it a source of tension, conflict, and worry? Did you witness your parents moving through the world with a sense of trust and safety, or with a perpetual state of low-grade anxiety about survival? Every argument about money, every worried glance at a bill, every sigh of "we cannot afford that," all of it was recorded, not in your conscious mind but in the tissues of your body, in your cellular memory. Your nervous system, in its brilliant and primal way, created a map of the world based on these early experiences. It learned what normal feels like. It learned what safe feels like. And for many, the familiar feeling of struggle feels safer than the unknown territory of abundance. This is the root of self-sabotage. Have you ever received an unexpected sum of money or a significant opportunity only to be immediately filled with a sense of dread? A feeling of "this is too good to be true," or an overwhelming urge to get rid of it, to spend it quickly, to bring yourself back to a state of familiar scarcity? That is not a character flaw. That is your nervous system doing its job. It perceives the sudden influx of abundance as a deviation from the established baseline, a threat to your survival identity. It sounds an alarm. It says, "Warning, this is not the familiar state of being. This is dangerous. We must return to what we know," and so, you will unconsciously create circumstances to get rid of the threat. You will make a poor investment. An unexpected expense will appear out of nowhere. You will find a way to leak the energy until your internal thermostat returns to its factory setting of just enough, or not enough. Your capacity to receive is determined by the container of your nervous system. If you have a thimble-sized container for abundance, the universe can pour a gallon over you, but you will only ever hold a thimbleful. The rest will feel like a flood that you must escape. The work, then, is not to chase more money. The work is to expand your container. The work is to regulate your nervous system, to teach your body on a cellular level that abundance is safe, that ease is safe, that receiving is safe. This is the deepest work you will ever do. Pay attention to your body. It is the ultimate truth teller. It has no capacity to lie. When you think about your finances, what happens in your body? Does your chest tighten? Does your jaw clench? Does your breathing become shallow? Does a knot form in your stomach? These are not just psychological reactions. These are physiological signals. They are the activation of old survival patterns. They are your body screaming, "We are not safe." Your body is still living in the past. It is responding to the energetic imprint of your ancestors, to the unspoken fears of your childhood, to every moment you were told that your worth was conditional. You cannot think your way out of this. You must feel your way through it. You must embody a new reality. Let me tell you a story, parable. For sometimes the soul understands the language of story more deeply than the language of law. There was once a woman named Elara who was a weaver. She did not just weave cloth. She wove light and shadow, memory and dream. Her hands moved with a grace that was otherworldly, and the tapestries that came from her loom were said to hold the soul of the landscapes she depicted. The whisper of wind through ancient trees, the cold fire of a winter sunset. People who saw her work felt a profound sense of peace, a deep and quiet knowing. Yet, Elara lived in a small, damp cottage at the edge of the village, and she was always poor. She worked from before the sun rose until long after it set. Her fingers were often raw, her back a constant, dull ache. She would sell a magnificent tapestry for barely enough to buy flour and thread, and then the cycle would begin again. She believed, with every fiber of her being, in the nobility of her struggle. Her exhaustion was her badge of honor. Her father had been a stonemason, a man who had built the great walls of the city. He was a man who believed that love was spelled sacrifice. He had worked his body into an early grave, and on his deathbed he had told Elara, "Your worth is measured by the sweat on your brow." Never forget that. She had never forgotten. She had mistaken his wound for wisdom and had built her entire life upon it. This was her silent agreement with the universe. To be worthy of love and survival, I must toil endlessly. Ease is a betrayal of my father's memory. This agreement ran her life like an invisible operating system. It was the code beneath her reality. When a wealthy patron once offered her a generous sum for a series of tapestries, a sum that would have given her a year of security, a wave of sheer panic washed over her. She did not feel joy, she felt terror. The feeling was so unfamiliar, so destabilizing to her identity as a struggler, that her nervous system reacted as if to a mortal threat. That night, she stumbled in the dark and broke her loom. The patron, seeing she could not fulfill the commission, regretfully withdrew the offer. Elara felt a strange and terrible sense of relief as she settled back into the familiar ache of poverty. She had unconsciously maintained her identity. This was her loop, a moment of opportunity, a surge of panic from her body's programming, followed by an act of self-sabotage that returned her to the safety of scarcity. The external world merely provided the stage props for her internal drama. The broken loom, the delayed payments, the threads that would mysteriously snap, they were all symptoms of the root cause, the deeply held belief that she did not deserve ease. One day, an old woman, a traveler with eyes that seemed to hold the dust of 1,000 roads, stopped at her cottage. She did not look at the tapestries with the usual awe. Instead, she watched Elara's hands as they moved, tight and precise, across the loom. She watched the tension in Elara's shoulders, the shallow, controlled nature of her breath. After a long silence, the traveler did not praise the weaver's skill. She asked a single, quiet question. "Tell me, child," she said, her voice like the rustling of dry leaves. "Whose hands are you weaving with? Are they your own, or are they the ghost of your father's?" The question landed in Elara's soul like a stone in a still pond. It bypassed her mind, her justifications, her stories about hard work and nobility. It went straight to the heart of the matter. For the first time, she truly looked at her hands, not as tools of labor, but as parts of herself. She saw the tension, the strain, the desperate need to prove her worth with every thread. And she realized, in a flash of painful, liberating clarity, that she had been weaving from a place of debt. A debt to a ghost, a debt to a belief that was never hers. That night, Elara did not weave. She sat by her small fire and she grieved. She grieved for the father who had known only struggle. She grieved for the years she had spent honoring his pain instead of her own joy. She placed a hand on her heart and gave herself permission to release the inheritance of hardship. She whispered into the quiet of her cottage, "Thank you, Father, for your sacrifice. I release it now. I choose a new way." The next morning, something had shifted. She approached the mended loom not with the grim determination of a laborer, but with the light-hearted curiosity of a child. She did not think about what the tapestry would be worth or who would buy it. She simply chose colors that made her spirit sing. She wove not a landscape, but a feeling. The feeling of the morning sun on her face. The feeling of release. The feeling of joy. Her hands were no longer tight and controlled. They were soft, fluid, dancing across the threads. She worked for a few hours, lost in a state of flow, and then, feeling a gentle pull to rest, she stopped. She went outside and lay in the grass, something she had not allowed herself to do in years. She began a new practice. Each day, she would weave only from a place of genuine inspiration and joy. When she felt tired, she rested. When she felt uninspired, she walked in the woods. She started leaving small, beautifully woven scraps of thread on the branches of trees, not for any purpose, but as a simple, joyful offering to the world. An act of giving without any expectation of return. It was a declaration to the universe. I have more than enough. My wellspring is infinite. A strange thing began to happen. People were drawn to her new work in a way they never had been before. They said her old tapestries were beautiful, but these new ones felt alive. They emanated a frequency of peace, of joy, of freedom. The new patrons who arrived were different. They did not haggle over prices. They offered sums that stunned her, not as a transaction, but as an honoring of the energy she had woven into the cloth. At first, her old programming would flare up. A large offer would trigger the familiar flutter of panic in her chest. But now she knew what it was. She would stop, place a hand on her heart, and breathe. She would speak to her own body, to her nervous system. "We are safe," she would whisper. "It is safe to receive. It is safe to be held. This is our new reality." She was consciously, patiently, expanding her container. The true miracle happened one morning. She woke from the deepest, most restorative sleep of her life. The night before, she had been weaving a small piece, a depiction of a field of moonflowers, entirely for her own pleasure. She had fallen asleep at her loom, not from exhaustion, but from a profound sense of peace. When she woke, she found a purse of gold coins sitting on the finished tapestry. It was more money than she had ever seen in her life. There was no note, no explanation, just a silent, abundant response from a universe that had matched her new frequency. She had made money while she was sleeping. She had not earned it through toil. She had received it through her being. Her state of restful, joyful, trusting alignment had become a magnet, drawing to her the very substance she used to chase. If that story resonates in the deep places within you, it is because part of you knows this story is not just hers. It is yours. Alara's loom is your work, your business, your creative project. Her father's ghost is your inherited trauma, your limiting beliefs, your silent agreements about what you must do to be worthy. Her broken loom is your self-sabotage. Her journey of reprogramming her nervous system is the journey you are now invited to take. Intellectual understanding is the map. Embodiment is the territory. You cannot simply know this truth. You must become it. The subconscious mind, the body, does not learn through logic. It learns through repetition, through rhythm, through sensation, through symbol. This is why we must anchor the new reality with sacred rituals. These are not superstitious acts. They are technologies of frequency. They are ways of communicating with the deeper parts of yourself and with the energetic field of the universe in a language it understands. Let us begin with the ritual of the open hand. The next time you have a small amount of cash, a single coin or a small bill, take it with you on a walk. As you walk, hold it in your hand and feel its energy. Acknowledge the story it has held for you, a story of lack, of need, of survival. Thank it for its role in that story. Then, find a place to leave it, not as a donation to a specific cause, but as an anonymous gift to the universe. Place it on a park bench, tuck it into the branch of a tree, leave it on a shelf in a shop. As you release it, do so with a specific intention. Your internal monologue should be this: I release this as a symbol of my trust in the infinite flow. Where this came from, there is more. I am not a container. I am a channel. My supply is limitless. Feel the sensation of letting go. Feel the shift from a clenched fist of hoarding to an open palm of release. This small act rewires a profound pattern. It is a declaration of your sovereignty over the energy of money. You are telling your subconscious mind and the universe that you are no longer operating from a place of scarcity. You are operating from a place of divine abundance. Now, let us speak of the ritual of sacred receiving. When money next comes to you in any form, a paycheck, a gift, finding a coin on the street, your old programming will be to immediately assign it a task. This is for the rent. This is for the bills. This is for the debt. You treat it as a tool to plug a hole in a sinking ship. This reinforces the frequency of lack. Instead, I invite you to pause. Before you allocate it, before you even deposit it, take a moment to simply be with it. If it is cash, hold it in your hands. If it is a number on a screen, visualize that number as golden light. Close your eyes. Place a hand on your heart. Breathe in, and as you do, feel yourself welcoming this energy into your being. Do not see it as a savior or a solution to a problem. See it as a friend who has come to visit. Feel gratitude, not a frantic, desperate gratitude of, oh, thank God, I can pay the bill, but a deep, calm, resonant gratitude. A gratitude that says, I am so happy to see you. You are always welcome here. Thank you for reflecting my own inner abundance back to me. This practice calms the nervous system's threat response to receiving. Teaches your body, through sensation, that it is safe to have. It is safe to be provided for. You are changing the relationship from one of master and servant to one of equal, joyful partnership. You are no longer a beggar. You are a gracious host. Finally, and most powerfully, there is the ritual of somatic anchoring, the very practice that allows for creation in your sleep. This is to be done in the liminal space just before you drift into unconsciousness. The veil between the conscious and subconscious mind is at its thinnest here, making it the most potent time for reprogramming. Lie down in your bed. Place one hand on your heart and the other on your solar plexus. Do not begin to visualize what you want. Do not start chanting affirmations. The goal is not to think, but to feel. The question you will ask your body is this: what would it feel like, right now, in my physical body, if all my needs were met? If I were living in a state of absolute safety, freedom, and overflowing abundance? Do not search for an answer with your mind. Search for it with your senses. Perhaps the feeling would be a warmth that spreads through your chest. Allow that warmth to grow. Perhaps it would be a sense of expansion, a release of tension in your shoulders and jaw. Let your shoulders drop. Let your jaw go slack. Perhaps it would be a deep, slow, easy breath that fills your entire belly. Breathe that breath. Your task is to generate the physical sensation of already having without needing the external world to give it to you first. You are reversing the creative process. Instead of waiting for the reflection in the mirror to change, you are changing the source of the reflection. Linger in this feeling. Marinate in it. Let it be the last sensation you are aware of as you fall asleep. What happens then is profound. You are handing over this energetic blueprint, this feeling state, to your subconscious mind. All night, as your conscious mind rests, your subconscious mind and your energetic body go to work. They begin to recalibrate your entire being to this new frequency. Your cells begin to hold this new memory. Your magnetic field begins to broadcast this new signal. You are literally, physically, and energetically becoming the person who lives in that reality. And while you sleep, the universe, which is always matching your dominant frequency, begins to rearrange itself to reflect your new state of being. Opportunities are magnetized to you. Ideas flow into your dreaming mind. People are nudged to connect with you. Solutions to problems appear as if by magic. You are doing the most powerful creative work of all, and you are doing it from a state of complete and total rest. You are making money while you sleep. This is the ultimate alignment. It is the dissolution of the lie that your value comes from your doing. Your value is inherent in your being. When you operate from this truth, action becomes a joyful expression of that value, not a desperate attempt to earn it. The old world will not understand this. It will call you lazy. It will call you lucky. It will call you irresponsible. Let it. You are not seceding from the world. You are seeding a new one. One that is built on the laws of energy, not the laws of effort. One that is governed by joy, not by fear. The spell is broken, but its echoes will remain for a time. There will be days when the old programming tries to reassert itself. You will feel the old panic, the old urge to strive, the old voice that whispers, "This is too easy. Cannot last." Do not fight this voice. Do not shame it. It is simply the ghost of an old identity trying to find its place. Acknowledge it with compassion. Treat it like a frightened child. Place your hand on your heart and say, "I see you. I hear you. Thank you for trying to protect me. But we are safe now. We are operating under new laws." Breathe. Regulate. Return to the feeling state of your new reality. This is the practice. Over and over again. It is a dance between remembering and forgetting, between the new embodiment and the old echo. But with each conscious choice to return to the frequency of abundance, you strengthen the new neural pathways. You thicken the channel. You are no longer a victim of circumstance. You are the source of circumstance. You are not at the mercy of the economy. You are your economy. The money, the wealth, the resources, they were never the goal. They are simply the inevitable byproduct of a regulated nervous system and an aligned energetic state. They are the applause the universe gives for the masterpiece of your being. So, how do you live now? You walk as if the ground beneath you is consecrated by your presence. Because it is. You speak as if your words are spells that shape reality. Because they are. You breathe as if you are inhaling the very substance of creation and exhaling a world of beauty. Because you are. You stop asking, what do I need to do to get what I want? And you start asking, who do I need to be to allow what is already mine to arrive? You are not chasing butterflies. You are tending to the garden of your inner world and allowing the butterflies to come to you. This transmission is now complete. But this is not the end. This is the beginning. This is the moment you stop reading the script that was handed to you and you reclaim authorship of your life. The power was never taken from you. You only forgot you were holding it. Now you remember. Go now, rest, and allow the universe to get to work. Your true work is done in the stillness. Your fortune is found in your frequency. And your freedom was here all along, waiting patiently within you. Welcome home.